friends, welcome to my channel Learn with Ayushi. So today I brought a new lesson for you all, and this lesson has been taken from class 7th textbook An Alien Hand, and the name of the chapter is also An Alien Hand. Do you know who aliens are? I think you people have watched the movie of Jadoo, so it is somewhat related to that. So let's quickly start with An Alien Hand, and I'm going to cover the entire lesson in this one video only. So this is just one place where you will get everything about the lesson. Moving ahead, so the things that I'm going to cover in this video lecture will be the introduction. Of course, I'm going to introduce the chapter, then the explanation of the story, followed by new words and meanings. I have jotted down all the new words and meaning here only. So I hope there will be no problem and you will get everything in just one video only. Great. Let's quickly start with the introduction. Introduction. Tillo and his parents live beneath the surface of a planet under artificial conditions. So Tillo and his parents live beneath the surface of a planet. Okay, they live beneath the surface of the planet under artificial conditions. Tillo has heard and read about the sun and the stars. He has never seen them. So basically, he was the person who was living on Mars and he had never read about or never seen sun and the stars. Right? Moving ahead. Tillo's father goes to work through a secret passage and Tillo wants to know all about it. So he was very curious that where is his father going and is he able to see sun and the stars? So he was very curious to know the secret passage and he wanted to go along with his father and to know about where his father used to go every day in the morning through that secret passage. Now let's quickly read the story. It's very interesting and very easy to understand. Moving ahead. An Alien Hand. Tillo, how often have you been told not to go that way? But why does Daddy go there every day? Because that's his job. Tillo, that way was an underground passage. Tillo's father went every day for work along that passage, and every day he came back from that direction. What lay at the end of that forbidden route? Not only Tillo, but a great majority of the community would have liked to know. Tillo's father was one of the select few permitted to go that way. The above conversation invariably took place between Tillo and his mother. Whenever he insisted on following his father, today, however, was different. Tillo's father was enjoying a siesta at home and Tillo managed to get hold of his security card. Then, evading his watchful mother's eyes, Tillo made his way to the forbidden passage. A mental door barred his entry. So now he got a chance to go inside that passage. Okay, I'll come back. The word the word siesta means nap. Nap means to sleep. So Tillo's father was enjoying a siesta at his home. That means he was sleeping at his home. So siesta, the word siesta means sleeping, a good nap, right? Now moving ahead, what happens is this, that Tillo often wants to follow his father. He wants to see that underground passage from where his father goes, and his father goes every day for work along that passage. He was very curious to know that passage, and every day he came back from that direction. What lay at the end of the forbidden route? So he was every day thinking that from where my father is going and from where he is coming, what is there in that route? What is forbidden? Forbidden means, basically here the word forbidden means that not permitted or allowed. So he was forbidden to go to that passage. What lay at the end of that forbidden route? Not only Tillo, but a great majority of the community would have liked to know. But his father was one of the selected few permitted to go that way, so he used to go that way. And this above conversation was between Tillo and his mother whenever he insisted on following his father. But one day what happened? It was his luck that his father was enjoying a siesta at his home. Siesta means a good sleep at his home. And Tillo managed to get hold of his security card. The security guard through which he used to go to that forbidden route, he got a hold of that card. Then evading his watchful mother's eyes, evading means hiding himself with his, from his mother's watchful eyes, Tillo made his way to the forbidden passage. He made his way from that secret passage from where he was not allowed. A metal door barred his entry. Barred means stopped his entry. Moving ahead to the next paragraph. But Tillo had watched his father slip the magic card into a slot. He did the same, and the door opened noiselessly. A well-lit passage seemed to beckon him. Snatching the card which had come out of another slot in the wall, Tillo started his march along a gentle upward slope, for the passage led from the underground habitat to the surface of the planet. Tillo looked forward to seeing the sun if it was daytime, or the stars if it was night, about which he had heard and read so much. So now he was very curious, and when he got the card, he had inserted the card, that slipped the magic card, and the door opened noiselessly. Then further what happened? He marched forward, he went forward, and he saw that the passage led from the underground habitat to the surface of the planet. Surface is at the end of the planet. Tillo looked forward to seeing the sun, and he was looking everywhere, if it is what daytime, or the stars if it was night, about which he had and read so much. He had only heard about it, but he had never seen the sun, stars, right? So he was very curious to see them, and that is why he wanted to follow his father, and he wanted to see it from the edge of the planets. Moving ahead. But alas, that wasn't to be. Tillo had underestimated the security arrangements. Invisible mechanical devices had already detected and photographed the small intruder, sent his picture to the Central Bureau, where it was thoroughly checked. And before he had advanced 10 paces, a strong hand fell heavily on his shoulder. Gently but firmly, he was escorted by the security staff back home to an anxious and angry mother. So now when he was going, he had completely underestimated the security arrangement, because the security arrangements were very high. As soon as he went there, his photo was clicked and it was sent to the Central Bureau, and where it was thoroughly checked. And before he could even move 10 paces, means 10 steps, a strong hand fell heavily on his shoulder. Gently but firmly, he was escorted. Escorted means he was taken away by the security staff back home to an anxious and angry mother. Mother was very angry that how could he do this, right? Moving ahead. While he was being scolded, he received help from an unexpected quarter. "Let me explain to him, darling," said his father, who had just got up. "If he is properly briefed, he will not do such a thing again." He started to explain. "Listen, Tillo, I work on a surface where an ordinary person cannot survive because the air is too thin to breathe, and where the temperature is so low that you would freeze to death. But daddy, how do you manage to survive? Because I go well equipped in a special suit with a reservoir of oxygen. I can keep warm, and my boots are specially designed to make it easy for me to walk on the surface. What's more, I have been trained to survive and work on the surface. There was a time when our forefathers lived on the surface quite naturally. Indeed, they did so for millions of years, but times changed. The very sun which had provided us with sustenance turned hostile. It changed only slightly, but the change was sufficient to upset the balance of nature on this planet. So now basically when his mother was scolding him, the father said that let me explain and brief Tillo properly. If I will brief him properly, then I am damn sure that he's not going to do this kind of activity again. Then further what happens, he explains him that he carries an oxygen cylinder whenever he goes to the surface of the planet, as the air is very thin there. And he's saying that he's telling about his forefathers that lived on the surface quite naturally, means they did not take any artificial thing of oxygen along with them, but they did so for millions of years, but times changed, and the very sun which had provided us with sustenance means the sun had provided them with support. Sustenance is support. They had turned hostile. They did not further give them any kind of support. Earlier they used to give them support, but now they did not. Turned hostile means they did not give any kind of support to them. They were unfriendly with them. It changed only slightly, but the change was sufficient to upset the balance of nature on this planet. So he's saying that there was a slight change, but it was sufficient to upset the balance of nature. Of course, can you live without the sun? No. So here his father is trying to explain Tillo this only. Moving ahead. First, the birds became extinct. Extinct means no more alive. The animals followed. The fish could not bear it anymore. Either we managed to survive only because of our superior technology, but we were forced to live underground under artificial conditions. Thanks to solar energy, we can generate sufficient power to make our life comfortable. But the machines which make this possible must always be in good working condition. Some of them are on the surface. I belong to the team whose responsibility it is to keep watch on them and to service them. Clear? Moving ahead. So his duty is to keep a check on the solar energy and to provide sufficient power to make our life comfortable. Okay, and that's what he's saying, that but the machines which make this possible must always be in a good working conditions. So some of them are on the surface, so some of them are on the surface of the planet, and his father belongs to the same team whose responsibility is to keep watch on them and to service those machines. Moving ahead. Daddy, can I join the team when I grow up? Of course, if you want to, said his father. But for that you must be a good boy and do as your parents tell you. His mother had, as usual, the last word. So his mother told him last that yes, of course you can join your father, but you have to be a good boy and you have to listen to your parents, whatever your parents are going to tell you. Moving ahead. Next part, the big TV screen in the control room shows an alien spacecraft. Moving ahead. The question whether there is life on other planets exercises everybody's mind. The president of the Central Committee is about to make an important statement. So now in this we are going to see a big TV screen in the control room that shows an alien spacecraft, and they have a question in their mind whether the life on the other planets is possible or not. The president of the Central Committee is about to make an important statement. Moving ahead. Next day, when Tillo's father went to work, he found the control room full of excitement. People were crowded round the big TV screen. It showed a dot in an otherwise clear background. It isn't a star, for it's changing its position. Our computer has given a trajectory for this thing. It's heading towards us. The supervisor of the last shift explained. A spacecraft. Tello's father asked. By now, he was joined by his teammates on the new shift. So we think, but it needs watching. So basically now when he goes for work the next morning, they found that on a TV screen they can see a small little like star moving, and they have said here our computers has given a trajectory. Trajectory is a path which is followed by a flying object. So trajectory is a path. So in the computer there was a trajectory, has given a trajectory for this thing. That means they have given a path in which this spacecraft was moving, right? Moving ahead. A spacecraft where from the solar system was not known to have any life anywhere else except on their planet. Tillo's father recalled the ancient days recorded in the archives at the Central Bureau when their ancestors had a well-developed space program and had searched the solar system with manned and unmanned spacecraft and found that they were indeed alone. Now, in the days of energy shortage and underground life, they had no space program. They could only watch importantly from their vantage point. Who were these strangers? Okay, moving ahead. The conference room in the Central Bureau was so quiet that an outsider would have thought it was empty. Far from it, it was full of capacity, but the members of the Central Committee were unusually quiet. They knew that the president was going to make a momentous announcement. Colleagues, I will give you the report as I have it. While one speaks, there may be a change in the situation. The president paused to get his papers in order and then continued. Two spacecraft are approaching us. One is in fact orbiting our planet while the other is still far away. We guess that they are coming from our neighboring planet. How should we react? Number one, your views, please. Number one was in charge of defense. He was known for his courage and wisdom. Sir, if we wish, we can totally destroy these spacecraft with our missiles, but that won't make us any wiser. We do not have the capacity to render these craft unoperational in space. But should they land, we can render them ineffective anytime we choose. Our report says that they do not contain living beings. They only have instruments. Number two, your opinion, please. The president asked the scientist on the committee. Clear? So now basically they're having a meeting and they're discussing that if we put something on the spacecraft which is coming, what will happen? So they're informing that there's no one in the spacecraft. There's no human. There are no human beings in the spacecraft. So even if we try or we do something to destroy it, there will be no harm. Clear? Moving ahead. I recommend non-interference and passive observation. Since we do not know the power of the senders of the spacecraft and we are still in the dark about their intentions, it is wise not to reveal our existence. If we destroy these spaceships or render them ineffective, we might reveal our existence. The president looked at number three. A social scientist, he rarely agreed with number two. But this was one of those rare occasions when he did. I agree with number two, sir. In fact, I will go so far as to say what we should keep our surface activities to the minimum, thus creating the impression that there's no life on this planet. Fortunately, our surface conditions do give that impression. Before the president could speak, his personal telephone rang. He lifted the receiver and listened quietly for a minute. Colleagues, he announced, the first spacecraft has landed. Clear? Moving ahead. Third part, Tillo accompanies his father to the control room. Now finally he got a chance to go to the control room along with his father. Next. In his excitement, he presses the all important red button on the panel and the mechanical hand from the alien spacecraft stops working. Oh my God. Moving ahead. The mechanical hand is activated again, but it finds no signs of life on that planet. Clear? So now Tillo finally gets a chance to accompany his father to the control room. Moving ahead. It was a red letter day in Tillo's life. The day he was waiting for his father had at last taken him to the control room. From here, he could see the alien spacecraft on his TV screen. What a funny looking thing, Daddy. What does it contain? Tillo asked. His father shook his head. Can't say for sure. We are only allowed to observe it from far, but we control all its parts and can exercise our power if it is up to any mischief. He pointed to an impressive panel with several colored buttons on it. Tillo looked at them wistfully. Look, it's up to something, Daddy. Tillo suddenly noted some movement in the spacecraft. Others in the control room saw it too. All eyes were now glued to the screen. A mechanical hand was emerging from the spacecraft. It was approaching the surface of the planet. It bent and touched the soil. What was it up to? People crowded towards the screen for a closer look. The telescopic lens of the TV camera zoomed into the tip of the mechanical hand. Tillo was staring at the control panel and its attractive buttons An irresistible desire got hold of him to press the most prominent of all buttons, the red one. So now people crowded towards the screen to have a closer look what was the spacecraft up to, and then a telescopic lens of the TV camera zoomed onto to the tip of the mechanical hand. Tiller was staring at the control panel and its attractive buttons. An irresistible desire got hold of him to press the most prominent important of all the buttons, the red one. Now let's see what happens once he presses the red button. Moving ahead. He moved. There was a shrill whistle, and Tillo found himself the center of attention. His father pulled him away roughly and restored the red button to neutral position. But the damage was done. The mechanical hand from the spacecraft ceased to work. At a press conference held by NASA, a scientist was briefing the world press. Now let's read. Everything has been going on smoothly with the Viking mission. There is a small hitch. The mechanical hand which was to dig out the Martian soil for examination has developed a malfunction. We don't know the cause, but our technicians are confident they'll sort it out. And shortly afterwards, there was another press release from NASA. The mechanical hand is working again thanks to the efforts of our technicians. Soil samples are being collected and examined. Soon we will know the answer to the question whether there is life on Mars. Life on Mars, of all the planets in our solar system, Mars is nearest in location and physical conditions to our Earth. So the scientists behind the Viking mission were hopeful of finding life on Mars, but they were in for a disappointment. The Viking mission found no signs of life on Mars. So there's no life on Mars. So there's no life except on the planet Earth in which we are living. Right? Moving ahead. So that was the entire story. And the scientists found out finally that there is no life on Mars also. So the Earth is the only planet where life exists. So now let's quickly start with new words and meanings. Beneath, extending or directly underneath. Forbidden, not allowed, banned. Invariably, in every case or on every occasion, always. Siesta, an afternoon rest or nap. Evading, escape or avoid. Beckon, make a gesture with the hand, arm or head to encourage. Introducer, a person who introduce specially into a building with criminal intent. Paces, a single step taken when walking or running. Escorted, accompany somewhere as an escort. Reservoir, a large natural or artificial lake used as a source of water supply. Sustenance, food and drink regarded as a source of strength. Extinct, no longer in existence. Alien, belonging to a foreign country. Moving next. Ancient, no longer in existence. Bureau, an office or department for transacting particular business. Ancestors, typically one more remote than a grandparent. Vantage, a place or position affording a good view of something. Conference, a formal meeting for discussion. Momentous, of great importance or sign or significance. Defense, the action of defending from or resisting attack. Render, provide or give a service, help, etc. Next, passive, accepting or allowing what happens or what others do. Panel, a flat or curved component, typically rectangular, that forms or is set into the surface of a door, wall or ceiling. Irresistible, too attractive and tempting to be resisted. Shrill, high pitched and piercing. Ceased, come or bring to an end. Malfunction, a failure to function normally. Viking, seafaring pirates and traders who raided and settled.
So I hope you people have understood the story and you have got all the new words and meanings. So in case you have understood the story, kindly don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. All these icons are present below the video. Kindly click on any one you feel like. Thank you. Thank you a lot. Thank you. Take care. Stay home. Stay safe.